and she died, I guess it was summer early, no, last school year. And the sister would be mourning her because she left her. And I asked the question, if she believes that heaven is what she says it is, why would she not want her to be there? Why would she want to keep her here? Then the lady goes on, the lady's daughter marries and now has a baby. Was married rather than had a baby. Now the baby, the child is like 2 years old maybe, I don't know. Anyway, what happens is the child says, I see the ghost lady in my room. And one day the child walks to the grandmother's house and sees her sister's picture and says, that's the ghost lady. Well, the child has never seen the woman before. So how did she know that's the woman, the ghost lady? Nobody sat down and talked to her about ghosts. So when Pastor Shelley explained to her about the other realm, she could not grasp that. But her claim to fame is that her daddy was a preacher. She grew up in the church. She's still in the Southern Baptist church. And she did not understand why would her sister, if that was her sister that the kids saw, why would she want to leave him to come back to talk to her? Now, when you make statements like that, why would you want to leave heaven and come back here? That's like asking, why would you want to leave Spider and go to Plymouth? It's like it's a geographical location. That in itself is slavery. That's bondage. She's enslaved to ignorance. She's enslaved to the nefarious intentions of those who preach to her. She doesn't know any better. So when she hears the truth, what happens? It resonates with her, which means it touches her at a spot that's real to her. But her mind will not allow her to embrace it because she's afraid of being excommunicated as a result of believing something that she has been taught is demonic. Is that not the nature of religion?
Yeah, and the message is still the same.
And the message, especially in America, is the only true religion on the face of the earth is Christianity. And hell, they don't even know what Christianity is. So in reality, the only religion that they're perpetuating is not Christianity. The only religion that they're perpetuating is Americanism, based upon a God that doesn't exist.
And capitalism.
Absolutely. So when we talk about people hearing the truth and whether or not they want the truth, it's not so much they don't want it, it's that they're afraid of it because of the results can be your family don't talk to you anymore. Or if your friends don't deal with you anymore. And humans have a pact mentality. Nobody wants to break out of the pact and say, you know what, this is wrong. Everybody wants to be accepted. And therein lies the problem. So how do we fix it? Well, the way we fix it is the way that Andre's about to tell us to fix it. Go ahead.
Nuke 'em all.
Can't do that.
She got a better night's sleep tonight.
Hey,
That's a fix.
Richard, you pray for the child. Children, you have to help them get through this.
I've actually, while you were talking, I actually been looking at the entire 2 John 1 in the Aramaic, and if you want to go over that, we can. What is really, well, more of an Aramaic view of it, starting with the first verse. Do you want me to say the King James Version first and then go into the Aramaic each verse? Explaining it?
Yes. You're go ahead.
James Version, 2 John 1, the elder unto the elect lady and her children, whom I love in the truth, and not I only, but also all they that have known the truth. So, from the Aramaic, and I will be stopping to explain certain concepts at random. There's your warning. If there are any questions, please stop at any point as well for further discussion or questions or concerns. The elder, and I'm using these terms, so these other terms will bring up an idea who we're referring to, like, for example, when I say priest. So we're talking about the elder person, more so is considered that also that person who is very wise, etc. So the elder, chosen lady being the female aspect of those who are called. So being to those who are called, that receiving part of them, and those whom I truly love, and not only I alone, except all those who know the truth. It's the first verse. Okay. For the truth sustains us forever. Different version, or more so as far as what it's trying to say is, for the truth strengthens in us forever, or to the end of the universe. And it's, when it says for the truth sustains, I want you to think about the difference between sustains and strengthens in us. As far as who we are, etc. Not just sustain. Something that sustains is basically like just doing enough, or is I don't want to say it's limited, but it can be more than just sustaining is just meeting a certain point. So for the truth strengthens in us to the end of the universe. Oh, I didn't even read it in the King James Version. 2, King James Version. For the truth's sake, which dwell in us and shall be with us forever. Moving on to the 3rd verse. Grace be with you, mercy and peace, for God the Father, and from the Lord Jesus Christ, the Son of the Father, in truth and love. Verse 3 in Aramaic, may grace and mercy and peace. And when it speaks of peace, is talking about all of creation, all that exists, be with us, from Allah the Father and from Yeshua Mashiach, Son. When it speaks of Son, it's talking about creation again. Creation of the Father in truth and love. Verse 4, I rejoice greatly that I found other children walking in truth, as we have received a commandment from the Father. I am very happy to find of your children that live or strive by the truth, as the Father has commanded us. That commanded is more so, I am very happy to find of your children that strive by the truth, as the Father have placed between us. It changes the connotation a bit, because when it says to live and then you talk about to strive, it's definitely talking about something that is done over and over on a daily basis, something that is continuous, not something that's just some choice that is made at one particular point, and then that is not it. This is something that is just as alive as a cell or anything else. It just keeps going and going and going. At any point, I guess choosing the direction in which in which it is headed.
Sheldon,
Yes, sir.
may I for a second interject something?
Sure.
When it talks about father, it actually is talking about home. When it talks about children, it's talking about those who rely on a home. When it talks about father, it's talking about the source of everything that is, and children are those who rely on that source. So the reliance on that source is present, whether the children realize that reliance or not. That makes sense?
Mm-hmm. It does.
Okay. So, there's something else I wanted to point out too. When Lord appears in the New Testament, it's usually referencing a light that cannot be ignored as opposed to Yahweh. It's a bad translation from Curio. Anyway, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Are you serious? You're supposed to stop it. Are there any other questions? Not any other questions. Are there any other, anything else by anyone else? Any questions from all of you thus far?
When I'm up all night, I usually develop conciliatory nature, so.
Verse 5. And now I beseech thee, lady, not as though I wrote a new commandment unto thee, but that which we had from the beginning, that we love one another. So, Aramaic. And now I set your heart at rest. Or, and now I set your heart at delivered, chosen lady. The same aspect that we were talking about before, the chosen, who this is addressed to. It was not that I am writing you regarding a new commandment, except regarding the one we had from the beginning, that we should love one another. And it talks about so that loving one another from the beginning. It goes back to verse 4 when we were talking about that commanded us, what has been placed between us. Now, it's very important, I guess, concept of love, and I think maybe overlooked very, very often. Think how perhaps we look at love, maybe looking at it from one angle, and maybe looking at it in a very, very limited way, as far as how exactly love goes about connecting one another. Well, not only us, but us to everything else that exists as well. When we're talking,
Again,
go ahead.
lady, right? And now I beseech thee, lady, as though I wrote a new commandment. It's talking, the word lady has its root the same word as Lord, but yet it's feminine. So it's talking about a feminine light, a light with a womb that has the propensity to give birth.
So it's the nurturing aspect of it. So that part, like you said, giving birth, but it's still from the same. The same exact source. It's a certain nature of it or an aspect of it that is actually going on.
Absolutely.
And so, any questions or comments? Any other comments? So when it talks about the love of one another, it doesn't mean just accepting or being happy with everyone and with other people, etc. It is talking about you becoming one with that thing, or whatever it is, And with you becoming one with it, you are expanding yourself, you are expanding your identity, you are joining in with, so to speak. So you are doing this with your consciousness. So all of a sudden now you are in yourself not as singular, and you are expanding, so to speak. That's what we should kind of like headed in that direction when we talk about love in the way that Jesus was talking about love. And what he was actually doing is just giving a footprint as far as, well, with the, I would say with the canonized books of the Bible we're given, because we're not given the things like the Gospel of Thomas. All those things or those actions that he's doing or kind of like trying to do or telling you to do, it is more so leading you in that right direction. But it's only very, very surface, which was done purposely. But it's only surface, but this is what is actually talking about from a more deeper level. Does everyone understand what I'm, not the picture, but the concept of love that I'm speaking of?
Anybody here?
I do.
Okay. So it's kind of like when, and I'm just giving it an example. So of course, I'm not going to be able to define it. The only thing that I can hope to do is to get everyone to understand when they may have so that they can attach on to that to know what I'm talking about. But it's impossible to actually define definitively. So it's when you completely place yourself in another person's shoes, and you completely, from your whole heart and all of your emotions and everything, see things, even if for a moment, things from their perspective. What you have now done in that particular moment is you as an individual do not exist as just you as the individual. You have joined in with that other person, and you've actually yourself as far as who you are. That is how everything works in regards to you being part of everything. That is what is more so talking about when it's talking about love. It's actually talking about stretching yourself beyond the limits or the confines that you identify with as yourself. That is what you do in relationships as well. That's when you truly love someone, is darn near impossible to actually manipulate that particular person, because even if you manipulate that person, you view it as you yourself manipulating yourself, because you view that person as you. So it is possible if you're just a person who, well then again, I don't know how much you love yourself. Excuse me, I digress. But anyway, when you are truly, when anyone truly loves something or loves someone, they are treated as if they are treating themselves that particular way. So it doesn't matter exactly the actions of what they're doing, but whatever it is that they're doing to that thing, or how they're considering that thing, is the exact same way they consider themselves. Because at that particular moment, they have expanded themselves to include, or with that other thing, I don't even want to say include, they are part of the other thing, they're one, they are whole, etc. And that doesn't mean that that other thing has to necessarily feel the same way, or that person the same way towards you. If that makes any sense. You can love, let's for example, you can love someone that completely hates you and wants to kill you, etc. That is definitely possible.
So the walking in love.
Love. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
So the walking in love, as opposed to loving, can one walk in love? It implies action. It implies that it's more than just a state of just being. It implies more than that. So what's walking in love?
Regulate your life according to that affection.
And so it implies obedience to the submitting to the truth and allowing that to regulate your life?
Yeah.
And then for those who are listening, submitting to what truth? The truth
Well,
of...
it talks about when you say walk after his commandments. That's the commandment, the word, if you look at commandment from the Hebrew, it's the letter K, which it speaks of the mouth, to blow from the mouth, to blow. And it's the what is spoken from the mouth. And the mouth of which you speak is talking about the mouth or the breath of the Creator. So regulate your life according to what has been breathed by the Creator. And when we talk about what's been breathed by the Creator, it would, to me, it means those things that resonate with us. For example, if you say something that resonates with me, then it doesn't mean that I necessarily hear it with audibly as much as I experience it spiritually. So when I regulate my life, or I begin to change my ways based upon what has resonated with me, then that is my walking according to those commandments.
And so my walk according to the commandments then can look crazy, can look weird from the perspective of people who are not regulated according to or led according to this resonance, the spirit.
Absolutely. And in most cases it does look crazy.
Uh-huh.
Pastor, you can't see me, but I have a huge smile on my face, and the reason why I do that is because you are actually skipping ahead, sir. In verse 12, it talks about, and I speak to you face to face, but it's actually talking about I wanted to come and speak to you mouth to mouth.
I think you're forgiven, sir.
No, but I just sit there with a huge smile. It's funny because, yeah, you're skipping ahead. I don't think the Creator appreciated you. He wasn't ready to get to that yet.
Was the creator what?
Oh,
No, I'm joking. We're still on 6, right?
yeah, okay.
Okay. Yeah. So, I guess, so 6 from King James Version, and this is love, that we walk after his commandments. This is the commandment, that as ye have heard from the beginning, you should walk in it. And as Pastor and Ms. Barbara just saying, talking about the commandment and mouth to mouth, and that you stride in him, that you walk in this particular thing. Anything else on 6 before we move on?
Well, no.
Go ahead.
I've just heard so much lately, you know. You see it all about, you know, what's going on with the with the gay marriages and things like that, and and you know, churches are supposed to be about love and non-judgmental, and while we might not agree with people's choices and what they choose to do, that doesn't change the fact that there is a spark of divinity in everybody, and we're supposed to love that person as it relates to that divinity, but it's like it's this love-hate thing going on. So many people are bashing even more the people for what they're doing rather than looking beyond. What's that song say? Look beyond my fault and see my need. When they're not looking beyond the fault, they're seeing the fault and seeing the individual as you know, this man marrying this man or this woman marrying this woman, and not able to see, well, you know, beneath all of that is a person who has a spark of divinity, who needs love just like everybody else does. It doesn't mean that it doesn't mean that I necessarily agree with who, like they don't necessarily agree with who or what I am. I mean,
Can I say something?
So what's your-
no. But go ahead.
I think what
You know what I'm saying?
what makes us look at them as being not right, we attach sex to it. You don't look at the love part, the love that they have for each other. You look at, I think, a lot of times we look at the sex part, which we think we think that sex is dirty. I think that's what stops us. That's what stops the love, because you look at the sex part.
I think we define love by the sex.
Okay.
That's what it is. and
Okay.
The love is not necessarily the sex.
Right.
True love is not necessarily the sex.
Right. I think if we just take that out of the equation and just look at the relationship for what it is, then you'll be able to roll with it. And then we've been taught that it's not right. You know what I'm saying?
Can I say something about that?
No.
No,
Suppose we
don't talk to each other, we're gonna talk to ourselves.
we are not actually taking love out of the equation. I mean, we don't need to take the sex out of the equation. What we've already done is taking the love out of it and just left the sex.
Okay. Okay.
And the reason that we've done that is because the love aspect, love is spiritual, right?
Yes.
And what we call sex is physical. So what we've done is taken the spiritual out of it, which is the love, and just kept the sex. So the love is not easy. We call it love, but it's not love at all. It's a physical, it's not even a physical expression as much as it is satisfying the spiritual need of desire. Physical gratification as opposed to spiritual gratification. Now, if we take, because when you look at our watch, the first place that love appears in the scriptures is Genesis 27, I think it is. And it actually is talking about affection and intercourse, right?
Uh-huh.
But intercourse without the affection is just a selfish act, period. And that is one of the reasons you have so many people who are damaged by this thing called sex, because they get the good feeling, but they don't get the good feeling. They experience the good feeling of the physical, but they don't experience the good feeling of the spiritual.
That makes sense.
And it takes both of them in order for it to be love.
I wanted to go back and say something. I think what Ms. Bob was also talking about with people finding it hard to love others because of their lifestyles, and to the point, to the fact where they actually might even hate them. Even within hate, automatically lies love, and love what we're talking about in what's the Second John. It being there from the beginning, it never being able to be destroyed, it's strengthening. It's no way possible that it can be annihilated or done away with. It's like energy. that's the bigger concept. So now this is the smaller concept in what that means. It's impossible to hate something that you don't actually automatically love and have some type of regard for to begin with. If something is so insignificant to you, it's impossible for you to hate it. There's automatically a recognition of divinity, even if it's not noticed or acknowledged. And so when you were talking about, I was thinking about that, and it was just truly beautiful. It was beautiful. It's almost as it's misguided, and it's actually when we talk about
Because Pastor's trying to talk.
Yeah, you cut him off. You won't let him talk. That's the fifth time I've been counting.
I'm about to go in a second. But you, I mean,
You
you're
should have
so
brought
on
that to him.
target because there is no distinction between the emotion of good feeling towards something or bad feeling towards it when it comes to ab, which is the Hebrew word for love. When it talks about the love that Jacob had for Rachel, when it talks about the love that Yahweh had for just talking about for the meat offering or something like that. There's no difference between those distinctions, which says exactly what you're saying. It is impossible to hate something that you love. It's impossible.
But therein is the rub then between walking in love and not walking in love. Because what Sheldon was talking about is what 1 John 4:7-8. Beloved, let us love one another. For love is of God, everyone that loves is born of God and knows God. Knows God. He that loveth not knoweth not God, for God is love. That kind of thing. On the one hand, and then you're bashing on the other hand, and that may not be hate, but that's not walking in. That's not showing love. It may not be totally hating somebody. Huh?
But is it not hate? Is it not really hate? Because hate, when we look at hate from the understanding that hate is an expression of something missing within the one who's doing the hating.
Well, but then Sheldon said you can't really hate. You can't really totally hate, so I don't understand. So what do you call that if you can't really totally go to that extreme? Almost hate.
An expression an expression. You're expressing that you believe that you lack something within yourself. What I have seen is that those people who are the most adamant ones when it comes to bashing homosexuals usually end up finding that they're homosexual too. Think about the ones who've been exposed, who were the chief proponents of the anti-gay movement. They got caught up in the very thing that they were fighting the hardest, that they're fighting themselves.
Hate is a weakened form of love. It is blasphemy because it is not an acknowledgement of who you really are. So it's just weakened, and that's when it was talking about in the earlier part of this. It was I keep forgetting where we at. 2 John 1, and some at the beginning when I was talking about striving, and I said it strengthens us. This is weakening who you are. It's not at all, like I said, annihilating you or anything, and that goes back to talking about we are in another form where we're talking about we are energy. You never cease to exist. And while I'm on it, I hate to do this. Well, maybe I should. I don't know. Going back to something else we talked about. I was about to say last class or last semester. What we talked about last week we were talking about, yes, she's going to get mentioned again, Carla, and talking about different forms as far as people dying or transitioning or passing away. That person does not cease to exist. Our consciousness, as we see it, allows us to be able to connect or see a certain part of a light spectrum, and that is it, which is basically all energy that exists. When you transition from one reality to the other, you are able to understand or see a different form of light or a different frequency. All frequencies, all that exists right here. Is not someplace off over there, someplace in the far that is unreachable. Everything is here. It is only your focus that changes, which is the same thing as you seeing with your third eye. It's nothing that you are seeing from afar. It's you seeing what exists right here in front of you, right here now, right here with you, that you're able to notice that you were not able to notice before. Sorry, y'all. We can go back now. I had to say that.
Okay. Can I ask you something with a class?
Sure.
Because the day of my dad's funeral, I went into his bedroom and I felt his presence in that room. And that let me know then that and we've been talking about it, we've been prepared for this for the longest. I think after Carla's death, we've just been prepared for what's to come. But the feeling that I felt, what was that? I know he was there because I felt his presence. So I'm trying to relate that with the energy that we're talking about.
So when I talk about us changing, not changing energy, but changing our focus, think about it this way, and you automatically do it. We do it now. When you are sitting there and you are daydreaming, when you are sleeping, when you're doing many things all the time, even though you don't realize it consciously, we are leaving our bodies in a different form, but we still exist the same. At certain times, what you're doing when we talk about love and we're talking about you opening yourself up, you're opening yourself up to all of these different, to only notice all these different experiences that are available to you that you pretty much already participate in. Mm-hmm. You just do it unknowingly. So sometimes with you being in a weakened state, sometimes when people meditate, sometimes drugs induce these types of these states of mind, etc., sleep deprivation, fasting, and things like that. It takes you, or it weakens the wall that you have up as far as your identity is, because I have defined myself as this particular thing, and it is that allows you access to experience and see other things, because you're not focused to the point where you're blocking everything else out. Okay. And so it also could be that your father allowed himself in knowing you to reach you and touch your heart in a way, and you were open and open to that, so you allowed yourself to receive it, and that's how you communicated or you felt his presence. Mm-hmm. But if you wanted to the same, you could have been extremely mad and upset, or you could have completely shut him off, and you could have never actually felt that. When I come in contact with some people, to be quite frank with you, I could easily see how I would cause problems. Let's say if I was dating someone, and I could get accused of flirting with another person, and but I do this all the time. It's not necessarily that I'm flirting with another person. What it is that I'm doing is I'm completely opening myself up to them, because I don't feel as though I'm not afraid that they're going to hurt me or harm me. And so when we're talking about love just a second ago, I'm trying to connect with that person, so to speak. I'm really interested in understanding or participating in that person's essence. And here's why you laugh. And so I'm
No, it's me.
This is like totally.
That's a nice way to say it.
Isn't it?
Students of our society. Sometimes I feel hungry. But that's what I'm talking about when I'm talking about love. That's how I'm talking about when you expand yourself, when you being energy and you have access to same energy, the same thing that Jesus did. You have access to all those particular things. You have access to anything in the past as well as anything in the future. Your entire ancestry. Last week when Nick was talking about, he's not talking about the people who actually worshiping their ancestors. He means that they will participate in them and they were using their wisdom, their knowledge, their understanding, their strength. And it's not just limited to your lineage in a physical way, but that's what you're doing. You're opening yourself up to those, like that source of energy. Energy is, as far as you having access to, is completely unlimited. What you can connect to is completely unlimited. Do I sound crazy enough?
Yep.
You
I
follow
you think we're putting some things
Yeah.
that are working in the back of your mind.
You sound like you got the special card Pastor got, yep.
I do. That's why I withhold a lot of stuff a lot of times. I do. I know.
This is you withholding, Sheldon?
I mean, no, not necessarily. Now I'm talking about a lot of people because I know that
He thinks he's all alone in his room.
I was completely blind. Like they'll be like, huh?
Yes, that's right.
I to myself, and then people's like, what is wrong with him? Why is he so happy? I'm taking a class in Science of Happiness, and we're supposed to pick out 3 things that make us happy and chart them down, like, throughout the day. Like, I'm always, for the most part, happy.
You're paying money for this
Oh,
class?
man, what do you mean? I can take the smallest little thing and just fall out laughing by myself.
Somebody else is
Oh my gosh.
I have an observation.
in the other class.
You know, we've been talking so much lately about transitioning, and I'm talking about energy transitioning or energy changing, which is what it is. It's like steam. It's like matter changing to steam or to different forms. That's what it is. Matter changing from different forms. And we've been talking about really people transitioning to different forms. And specifically with the numbers of funerals lately. And we've been talking about seeds being planted and, you know, something that has to die. And, I was, Evelyn, your words were just very prophetic and very, they resonated with me. The fact that you said, you reminded people that, seeds have to die in order for something else to be given life. We had to be reminded of that. And then Pastor talked about forgiveness. And then Sheldon is now talking again today about love. And Pastor talked about restoration, and there can be no restoration without forgiveness. And I'm wondering if, if the whole concept of what funerals are about, that we need to go back to reshaping what it really is about. It really is about, as you said, Pastor, not the person that's transitioned, it really is about reminding those who remain, some of whom are the walking dead, who remain, that the issue is about forgiving and loving. And you can't really truly love until you forgive either. So that's the whole issue. Finding opportunities to forgive and to love. And that's what Sheldon's talking about today. That God is love. That's the essence of the Creator. And you can't walk into His commandments. You can't do your daily walk unless you forgive. So those two are inextricably tied together. And then that third piece, you can't be restored if you've been walking outside of that until you forgive. And so people just need to be reminded that, there is always that hope for each one of us. And it doesn't have to be joining the church and all of that. You can have it at any moment. So that's what I got out of Carla's funeral, your dad's funeral, my mom's funeral. That's what I'm seeing. That people need to be reminded of stuff like that. It's not this person lived a good life, blah blah blah. That person has moved on and will whatever their next life will be what it is. But what is the seed that's planted? What is the energy? What is the essence of that individual that we can pull from that individual? The light that's pulled from that individual that can be the seed that can be that's planted for the remaining folk here, that they can get out of that. And I don't know if that resonates or not. It's just an observation.
It does indeed. It does indeed. As a matter of fact, you should probably convert that to print. Because
You're going on sabbatical so that you can convert it to print.
I'm converting some of this other stuff.
Oh. Oh, the
I
other
have
thing.
more stuff than I
We
dreamed.
got it on video.
And the other thing I forgot to tell you was that I was not surprised that you did the 23rd Psalm either. Because I've been thinking about that all week long for some reason. I dreamt about it. 23rd Psalm.
Yeah.
I dreamt about it. So thank you.
Yeah, ma'am.
Well, other people have said too that
Wonderful.
they've never heard it broken down the way he did it. They were just amazed. They were in awe that even my nephew, he told me, he said, Aunt Evelyn, I can relate to what your pastor was saying because I've never heard it like that. I mean, it was just remarks coming left and right, and I'm like, but I want us to get to a place where we won't be on edge every time Pastor speak. It's like we weren't on the edge of the seat, but our heart was like, and I know you all felt it.
Yeah.
What's next? It's like we're on edge, but I want to get to the point where I'm no longer on edge. Let it be, let it just flow, let it do what it needs to do. And, yeah.
Okay. All right. I hear that.
It's on us, Pastor. It's on us.
Yeah.
A couple of things. God can be nothing but love if we look at love
Sheldon.
as from
Sheldon.
the standpoint of connectedness.
Sheldon, Pastor was saying something.
Hold on just a second, Sheldon.
Go ahead.
I gotta go. But I'll be talking with you guys later, okay?
All right, we'll see you.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Cool.
Enjoy your snow. I was saying that God is nothing but love. When we think think about the version of the love, or the way that love was made, as we've been talking about today, is in regards to connectedness. If God is all that it exists, of course that would entail accepting all of it, which is that connection that we've been talking about. And the other part I wanted to talk about, the part that is, I guess, not what is very rarely thought of from this perspective in regards to death. All of us have particles that was once a star. Let's just call it stardust within our body automatically from a material standpoint. It goes very far beyond the material, but just follow me right quick. With that being said, that means that nothing is ever completely destroyed. However, a star died to make us, or because we embody parts of the star that actually died or exploded, the supernova. So when y'all think about y'all songs from the 70s, "You a Shining Star," think about that.
You are mine.
And you say a star dies for what purpose?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying the purpose of the diet. I'm just saying, think about it as far as like a continuous cycle. So when I'm telling you there are particles in your body, when we talk about from a physical standpoint, that was once a star. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying that your body is made up of star dust, an exploded star, a star that died.
You want me to explain it? You want me to explain it?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Because like our star only produces hydrogen and helium. But when it goes into fusion, like an exploding star does, it needs that greater heat to be able to create other elements. So we are made up of those elements that an exploding star created. There you go.
Yes.
You're a shining star takes on an entirely different meaning now. But just as you are, you see, well, we may see ourselves or have seen ourselves as being some limited person, etc. And of course, the church has taught us that we're not worthy of things like that. We're just, filthy rags. That is your lineage. That is a part of who you are. That is a part that you cannot separate yourself from at all. The only thing you can do is you can do it in thoughts and think that you've separated yourself from that. But still, you cannot separate that from your being totally. Only thinking it. It's only in your mind that you're only limited in your thoughts. But the reality of what things really are, you cannot change. You cannot integrate. And when I said beyond the material, what I meant by that was it goes back to when I was talking about the access to all energy that has existed, the same energy that is thought of that Jesus had access to, being the same energy that you have access to as well. And so I wanted to use the star reference because when we think of time as being linear, the history of how many billions of years ago that star would have bursted, that now makes up our bodies. That's it, I'm finished.